3, 2. Welcome to the Fish Nerds. I'm Clay Groves, Chief Executive Fish Nerd of the podcast, and we're taking another day off. So enjoy this effing throwback. It's a lot of fun. Back from Christmas 2014, I think. So it should be topical and timely. And we'll be back next week with some brand new content on Christmas Day. I hope you like it. In the meantime, just enjoy the show. And this episode is brought to you by the Fish Nerds Guide Service. If you want to hire a guide to take you ice fishing in the Mount Washington Valley of New Hampshire, that's me. Give me your money. I'll put you on some fish. We'll have a great time. We'll have a hot meal. We'll laugh. We'll cry. It'll be great. Just go to fishnerds.com for more information. In the meantime, enjoy the podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
May I have your attention, please?
Hello and welcome.
And now, on with the show.
Welcome to the Fish Nerds podcast. It's the latest about fish, fishing, and eating fish. I am Dave.
And I am Clay. Together we talk about fishy stuff that's happened to us, people we know, and other fish nerds we've seen. Anything is fair game. And it's a good bet that Dave has been too busy fishing to do any Christmas shopping.
Oh, God, that's right.
Get in the
when
game.
When is that? That's got to be soon, right?
Soon, yeah. Tuesday. No, Wednesday. Probably the day this gets on the line. Who knows?
Fish. Well, we got fish on our minds. What can we say?
Fish brains.
We have stockings full of things to talk about.
He meant Christmas stockings. He's not perverted.
Well, speak for yourself.
You got fishnets stockings full of things.
Hey, there you go. It's very fish nerdy. I'll have to justify that sometime, why I'm looking at fishnet stockings. I went fishing.
I did not.
Meaner.
I got a job.
I know. I know. You're out doing stuff, and I'm out. Yeah, I know. But I took the video camera, and we'll talk about a little video, and it'll be posted with the video version of the podcast.
Good.
It'll be ultra cool.
Good.
It's true. It's true. Then we got big fish nerd news. Huge news. We're going to be in Boston on Boston Public Radio.
For our second time.
But this time, Jim and Marjorie. We were so big the first time, they had to bring in two people.
Because one person can't handle the fish nerds.
You can't
I know, we're going to do their Friday news roundup thing. Whatever they do on Fridays with the news, so.
I know. I'm actually very, very scared.
We'll have to just pay attention for a couple of days, that's all.
I know, but if we can't even figure out when Christmas is, we may be in trouble on a news quiz. But anyway, it's January 10th, 2014, at 1:30 p.m. on 89.7 FM, the voice of Boston Public Radio. I don't know if that's what they call it, but it is the voice of public radio.
We'll put a link up.
Yes, and there'll be plenty of promotion because this is big news. This is a lot of listeners, I think, and it's very fish nerdy for us. So we're excited about that. The next thing that I'm excited about, and this is because we have the public radio thing coming up, because we have to look smart.
We're reading.
Radio. We are. We're actually reading books.
Yay!
And we'll talk a little bit about our literary review.
We're gonna be geniuses. Not fish nerds, fish geniuses.
Well-read geniuses. Then we have a little bit of fish in the news.
Yes.
A social media blitz.
Go nerds, yeah.
And a Stump the Fish Nerds, which in fact, we had nobody call in our Fish Nerds phone hotline. So Clay will be quizzing me.
You're so done.
Yeah, well. And then we're going to wrap it up with Fish Nerd Nation.
All right, let's jump into this thing.
So I went fishing.
I'm a little jealous, Dave.
You should be.
Because I went driving right past your fishing spot the other day, so I wish I went to fishing.
Well, there's been a big debate about whether people should tell other people where they went fishing or not tell other people where they went fishing.
Yeah.
And
well, you know the theory, right?
What is the theory?
Well, the theory is if any angler asks another angler, how's the fishing or where do you catch the fish, you don't tell them. But if you're from the media or if you have digital cameras or video cameras or you're from the press, then you tell them everything.
People do seem to spill their guts.
They do indeed.
When it comes to media stuff. And, it's a little bit of a challenge for us because, we're first and foremost anglers. Mm-hmm. And we don't like it when we can't get to our favorite spot. And
right.
the running theory is that if you spot burn, it's called spot burning. Mm-hmm. If you spot burn, then everybody in the world's going to show up. Now, I think that's just paranoia personally.
I think so.
I don't think people really care. And I think people go where they like to go fishing. But there are some people that get very upset if you spot burn.
Upset in a way that's really fun.
It is, because it's nothing better than seeing people get annoyed.
It's really fun to go on a website where you see one of the forums when you see someone posting a picture of a big old trout, and you post on there, "Hey, was that Lake Chicora?" And you know it was that lake, and they go, no, it wasn't."
What makes you say that? That's weird. Why would you say that?
Yeah, that doesn't make no. Lake Chicora has a different mountain by it. Yeah,
right.
That lake's in New Jersey.
Yeah,
plausible deniability.
They're not confusing anybody, but anyway, one of the nice things about this, I'm not going to burn this spot that I went fishing at, but I will say,
Dave, we've burned this spot before.
I know, but what I'm going to say is that, like Clay said, he drove by the spot that I was fishing at, and this spot has people driving by all the time, and the great thing about it is people honk and wave. Yeah. So I would say at least 30 people honked and waved at me at this fishing spot when I went out on Saturday.
Now, when Dave says some people drive past this spot, he means probably 100,000 cars a day. I'm not exaggerating. It's a major spot. So the idea of sight burning it is a little silly, I think.
It's a little silly.
Because honestly, come on.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of people are watching. But like I said, it's great. People honking, waving, woo-woo. Very fun. So this video, so we're going to try to run a video, and we'll try to run the video at the same, we do a video version of the podcast on our website, and we're going to try to link this thing up. So if you're listening to this, you could jump onto fishnerds.com, jump on the video, and see what we're talking about.
Or you can go to our YouTube channel, which is Fish Nerds Nation, and watch it there.
All right, so there I am, sitting there on my, hey, fish!
Bluegill, right?
Yes, it's a little bluegill.
It's not a pacu.
No. And it's a male bluegill, I think, and I'm very excited about it there.
I know. You keep walking up going, there it is.
You can see the stripes on it. Oh, and I've got another fish here. And this is it could be a female bluegill.
Probably
is, right?
Yeah, you look so happy.
I am happy because I'm catching fish. Now, this was a brute of a white or a black crappie.
Black crappie. Now, is that the same background you got rid of earlier for that Facebook picture?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So people could maybe, I don't know, figure it out. Now we're going underwater.
Now, many people don't know this, but Dave actually dove underwater for these shots.
So a fish just swam by. I realize this is incredibly boring for the only iTunes listeners, but we'll give you a play.
The only one on iTunes is Michael Mize. That's it. So.
Yeah, that's right. But so if you were watching the video, you would have seen a bluegill just go. But now one comes out of the gloom to come up and look. And this camera is located on a pole. It's a 12-foot long pole that I submerge underneath the surface of the ice, and I lock it into position using a clamp right at the same height as I'm fishing. And I have a sonar unit at the same time. I have more equipment out there than NASA, I think. And I can position it right where I can see the fish, right at the right depth. But I can't see when fish are coming by. So
there's a big old bass there.
a bass cruising in. This bass was really interesting, and it's
You
too
should have
bad
caught him, Dave.
I should have caught him, but
Yeah, you
this
should
guy
try.
was circling my gear, all kind of all afternoon, because you'll be seeing some other pictures of this bass coming up. And I think the most interesting thing is they weren't scared of a giant yellow pole with a bright orange camera on the end of it, submerged down below. And there he comes. It's hard to tell how big he is, but I think he's gigantic.
He must be a brute. But I think you drop that pole in the water, you automatically there's habitat. All of a sudden, a place to hide behind.
I think there is.
I don't think they're afraid of much, and and he's in that habitat. He's got no predators down there, so.
Yeah, what does he care? And, people worry about spooking the fish and all that. There's no way that fish is going to see this big yellow pole with a camera come down and go, oh, I bet there's a human on the other end of that.
Yeah. There's your friends.
Yeah, there's, you always meet friends out on the ice, and I met Mike and Andrew and Chris. And right now in the video, Mike is pulling in using a tip-up or a trap. He's pulling in a chain pickerel.
Yay! Oh, that's a nice one too.
Yeah, it was a nice one. It was the great thing, and you're a fish nerd. All these guys are fish nerds who are out there. You're a fish nerd when you're doing catch and release on a tip up.
Right.
Because it's not like you're fishing with a rod and reel where you're out there trying to, perfect the right cast. Right? You're just out there catching fish, looking at them, putting them back.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do this. So they'll pile this up on the ice and they'll just have a big fish fry at night. But these guys, let them go.
Yeah,
So good for them.
catch and release tip up fishing. So,
so nice little video, Dave. I'm very proud
Thank
of
you.
you. Come a
thank
long
you
way
very much.
in such a short time. I'm just jealous. I want to get out there with you later this week, maybe, and get something.
We definitely need to get out there and together bring the fish nerd hammer down on these New Hampshire fish.
Oh man, we got so many cameras we could drop underwater. We're bound to get a good shot.
I found a U.S. patent from a professor down in Louisiana who is perfecting a chemical that triggers the involuntary response of bass to bite something.
Huh.
So involuntary. So
I can't help it.
they can't help it. So there's this chemical in the water that all of a sudden they're like, nom, 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 nom. Can you imagine if they had that for people?
I feel like I ate that. I just can't stop. It's your holiday season. You go to a party. You're like, what is that chemical in the air? Just start shoving food. What's that? Cookie? Okay. Yep. You know what the worst is, though?
What?
I went to a party the other day with my family.
Yeah.
And there was this chocolate-covered pretzels on the counter, and I'm supposed to be eating healthier.
Oh, yeah.
And
So
my wife wasn't looking, so I grabbed one. And I shoved it in, because, I shoved it in my mouth,
Right.
and I about died. It had mint in it.
Oh, wait, a minty pretzel?
I hate mint.
Ah.
Mint on the chocolate. You want to talk about wrecking a good sneak? Like, I was so sneaky. And then I'm like trying to spit the thing out and wipe my tongue off because I had mint on my tongue. I hate mint. It's just the worst flavor on earth. I just freaking hate it. My wife comes in, she goes, "What'd you do?" Nothing. And I'm wiping my tongue off. And she probably bought those stupid things.
Now, so this sounds very similar to your dog training approach.
Oh, you don't want to talk about dogs.
Why not? We've moved past fish right now.
Man, I have this dog. She'll be fishing with us someday. But her name is Ruthie, and she's part cattle dog and part whatever. She's a mutt. We rescued her. We swung in on ropes and kicked the doors in and saved her from the Libyans. And
Rescue.
total rescue. But she likes to eat poop. Like, that's her thing.
God.
She thinks it's delicious. Like, especially when it's frozen. She'll see her walking around a yard with looks like a cigar hanging out of her mouth. And she's so happy. Keeps trying to get him in the house, too. Like, she'll run past you with a big old turd hanging out of her mouth. And when I say turd, I don't mean pollock. I mean poop. So she comes running fast, and we chase her out. So the other day,
Jesus Christ.
Kristen, my wife woke up, wasn't feeling good. She called in sick to work.
Oh,
And she goes, and she's a teacher. So she says, I'm going to go into work and I'm going to set my classroom up so that way the substitute knows what to do. I said, great. Why don't you take the dog with you? So that Ruthie got in the front seat of the minivan with Kristen, and they left. And I'm like, okay, cool. I start getting my kids ready for school, and then Kristen pulls back up the driveway. And she comes storming out of the car and past me, and the dog kind of skulks away. And I go, what happened? And she goes, Ruthie. I said, what happened? She goes, well, she's been eating poop. Uh-huh. She goes, she vomited poop. So she like had diarrhea out of her mouth. And it was everywhere. Like it was like, it was like she ate every poop she could find. And it just was all over the car. The cup holders were full of it. It was just everywhere. Horrifying. Like just horror show. And of course, Kristen's sick. I'm like, I'll help you clean it up. And so I go out there and I grab a couple of paper towels. And I'm like going, and I'm gagging. And she's like, just get out of my way. I can do it. You're not helping because you're being sick too. And I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Oh my God.
I was completely useless. Entirely useless.
Wow.
So then I later that day I brought her to the dog wash and was washing her and I was talking to the lady who works there.
Yeah.
And I told her the story and she goes, that means your dog is missing something in her diet.
Oh, I've heard that too. I heard that.
Yeah, you know what she's missing? Poop. I figured it out. And she found it. Problem was solved.
Yeah.
So nothing to do with fishing at all. I felt like I had to tell that story.
Well, and then your solution, because you did tell me this the morning it happened, because I called you right when it happened.
Oh yeah, bad timing.
And I didn't get the complete story, but I got enough of it to tell people at work too.
I'm telling this story on public radio. I don't care what we're talking about. I'm telling the story.
If the news quiz, it's like, what was Arafat? Who was the successor to...
Speaking of Arafat, I have a fat dog.
Let me tell you. But I think it's great. I think your solution is you're going to put hot sauce on all the poop, right?
Yeah, well, and then I forgot to buy hot sauce, so I grabbed some chili powder, and I'm walking around the yard and putting chili powder on all the poop, and I'm feeling like I'm just flavoring it better. But I end up buying these little pills that make your poop taste bad, and I've been feeding it to the dogs, and I'm hoping the problem is solved.
Well, of course, when I told that story to people at work, they said, why doesn't he just pick up the poop? I mean, he's right there.
We live in the forest. The dogs are running off in the woods and pooping. They're not pooping where I see it usually.
But I like
we don't live in the city.
You're taking the time to add condiments to all the poop.
I know, a little mustard and ketchup, and you get little doggy napkins they can clean up afterwards. Terrible.
Oh my God! I'm sorry I brought that up, but oh my God, that is just the most horrifying, terrible story.
It really is, and I'm just so useless. Like honestly, I just feel sorry for Kristen. I just am no help at all. Our car now smells like vinegar and Clorox and all kinds of other cover-ups. And,
oh my God. Yeah, Febreze. Try to cover this one. That'd be a good commercial.
Oh my gosh.
We brought a dog in. Blindfolded these people.
That dog was almost unrescued.
Yeah, I think I know why it needed to be rescued.
Why would someone give up such a sweet dog? Oh. That's what, yeah. I get it now. Hey, public radio.
That's our next thing we're going to talk about.
It is.
I'm not sure what else there is to talk about.
Did you write? You wrote WB or WGBH?
It's WGBH. You see, and that's one of the things that frightens me, is that when I was listening to this news quiz, they had This Old House. They had those guys from This Old House on there.
Yeah.
And one of them, I think, is a Boston guy.
Mm-hmm.
And they were asking all these very Boston insider kind of quiz questions. And I'm going to get slaughtered. You know, I'm a Hoosier, you know, and usually...
At least you work in Boston. I live in the mountains.
we're going to be killed.
We just need to make sure we have in our pocket some facts about Boston fish. And so anytime we're stumped on a question they ask us, in our best Boston accent, we can go, "That's wicked pissa. Did you know that cop were brought to Boston?" You know, we can just tell a story and try to do it in their accent.
Oh, boy. And that was spot on, I must say.
Well, it's almost as good as my Australian.
So I'm going to reference Dunkin' Donuts and
I'd like to thank Dunkin' Donuts and Bernie and Phil.
How about those Celtics? I can usually.
I just want to say that Yankees suck.
When I'm in a jam, I just say Larry Bird because people still have a soft spot for people from Indiana just because of Larry Bird.
I don't know what you mean.
Oh God, we're doomed.
I don't do sports at all.
Well, Larry Bird was a big star back in the 70s. And,
right.
He was from French Lick, Indiana. So I don't know. So anyway, but we will be on public radio, the Jim Marjorie show, Boston Public Radio. I guess the show starts at noon and ends at 2. They said they're going to have us on at 1:30, and that's on Friday, January 10th, 2014.
WGBH. We'll be posting up like crazy all over Facebook and Twitter and letting you know when you can hear it, and you can stream it probably live anywhere in the world.
Yes.
And so it'd be really cool if everyone listened and then called in afterwards and said, "Man, those fish nerds are awesome."
They need a show of their own.
Yeah, have you thought about hiring the fish nerds? You know,
yeah, exactly. I mean, the Car Talk guys are done.
Same studio,
same area. You know,
and
we can just fill that niche,
right? And then people can call in with their car questions.
Right. we don't know, but it's a wicked pizza with a Dunkin' Donuts and fish. That's the best we could do.
Oh, nice.
But anyway, getting more back to serious fish stuff. By this time, all our fish nerds have turned us off.
I know. We lost everyone.
Well, we're actually going to talk about fish.
Hey, I like fish.
I know. I'll go first because my book, I've been reading it for a while. I read slow. But this thing is called Running Silver, Restoring Atlantic Rivers and Their Great Fish Migrations. And it's by John Waldman. John Waldman, I think, teaches, I think it's down in New York, I think. His bio is here somewhere. But wicked smart guy who has done a lot of research. He has an archaeological bent to his work. And as I get done with this more, I'll be able to tell you more about what he's doing, or what his background is. But there's some really interesting stuff. The little bit that I thought was really kind of mind blowing is that he cited some research where, all right, so migratory fish, right? Clay, right. You remember seeing in your elementary school and all that. What did the Native Americans do in the spring in New England? They
fished.
And explain the scene that you've been taught.
They stood around with spears at the bottom of waterfalls, spearing fish out, or building weirs and netting them out.
Right, and it was a big to-do, right?
Yep, everyone did it together. Big communal fishing thing.
Right, and they had fishing racks, drying racks, the whole 9 yards. Bunches of people,
and they didn't wear pants. I'm just saying. Yeah.
And if you looked real close, you saw boobies.
Yeah, all the time.
So that's what...
It must have been terrific.
So that's our American education system at work, folks.
That never happens when I go fishing. I just...
Keep looking.
I'm going to go old school next year. I'm going to have everyone topless and fishing with me.
All right. So this is interesting, though, because there was a researcher I don't know, from somewhere, who actually looked at this notion that everybody came out and did all this. And it's actually false. Because what he looked at was the amount of time it would take to do all this stuff. So out of the book, it says it would take 200 people hours. All right. So 200 people hours were needed to scale and butcher 1,000 fish. So 1,000 fish, which, in those pictures you saw piles of fish.
Right.
Now that's 200 people hours. It takes 20 people hours just to create the drying rack to put the fish on.
But they work in teams.
But the thing is, at many times during history, there weren't that many Native Americans around to do that. And what the really interesting thing is that concept of all the people in the village coming out and catching all the fish that are coming, all these big adult fish coming up from the ocean, is based on the European capitalist model of taking everything and shipping it and packaging it up and sending it out, right?
Okay.
The reality is Native Americans are like, yeah, sure, there's lots of fish here in the spring, but they also are here in the summer, in the fall. They're always in the river. So they didn't have the need to haul a bunch of fish out and try to preserve them because the river was like their refrigerator.
Because there's always fish around.
There's always fish around, and there's always at different stages. So they said the small fish that would, like the small herring that would be hatched out in the upper watershed and come down in the fall, that was a big food source as well. And just because Europeans don't like catching small fish and trying to sell them, Native Americans are like, hey, it's all fish and it's all good.
Who cares? Make soup.
Yeah. And the only time they really spent a lot of effort to preserve and smoke and all that jazz was in the fall to get them through the winter to when the fish came back. So that whole notion of like everybody go to the river and be hauling out fish they think is untrue.
Wow. I bet you a lot of what you hear is untrue.
I think so too, but
we shouldn't be surprised.
but they're looking back at the old, the mittens, the piles of fish bones and things that Native Americans had, and the evidence just doesn't support this big seasonal burst of fish catching. There's no facts there to support that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, nice job. Look at you.
I know. So this book has got me kind of excited, and I'm only about halfway through.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. So, what book are you reading?
Well, reading is very subjective. I think we're gonna be careful how we use that phrase. In fact, you just got me thinking about it because.
So, all right, what book are you pretending to read at Starbucks?
Well, I'm holding a book in my hand right now. It's an antique from 1873, and I'm afraid to read it. I'm afraid to even open it. So I've been a couple of years ago when I worked for the college system, I would commute and I stopped at this gas station and get coffee every morning.
Yeah. And
there was always a guy named Bradley who would just chat me up.
Yeah, okay, Bradley.
Yep, and he was always saying, hey, have you read the book I Go A-Fishing by W.C. Prime? And I kept saying, no. He goes, well, it's about these two guys on a fishing quest. You'd love it, blah, blah, blah. And I never got around to reading it or even looking for it. And I haven't been in that coffee shop in a long time because I haven't worked for the college in 2 years.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I went in there the other day during a snowstorm because I was plowing to get a cup of coffee, and Bradley was there. And he goes, Clay, hang on a second. He goes out to his truck, and in an envelope, padded envelope, he had bought for me I Go A-Fishing, the antique book.
No
he
way.
bought it on eBay or something, and he gave it to me.
Oh,
he had been
my God.
driving around with it in his truck for a year and a half, hoping to see me and give me this book.
Wow.
And so I haven't read it yet, but just now while you were talking, I stopped listening, and I went online, and I Googled the book.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I found a PDF copy of this book for free. I just downloaded it to my iPad.
Yeah.
So now I can read it without opening this antique up. So I found a scanned copy for free just now online. I just Googled I Go A-Fishing by W.C. Prime. First link was a free download from some California university or something.
Oh, all right.
So,
So any listener can go find that.
You know what? I'll put a link up anyway if it finishes downloading if it looks good, and you guys can read it. But it's a lot of New England fishing stories, a lot of New Hampshire specific fishing in it, and so now I'll read it and I'll report back once I read it. Oh yeah, I just opened the book and the binding just fell apart. So
but wow, kudos to Bradley for
how cool is that?
What a lot of stick-to-itiveness there.
I know, and I said, Bradley, do you have email? And he goes, well, I use my wife's. I say, so okay. Are you on Facebook? No, I don't do any of that. Okay. iTunes? Nope. YouTube? Nope. Okay. Well, thanks. I want to make sure I thank him, but like, when am I going to see him again? I have to go to
in a couple years.
Couple of years. I'll bring him a present when our book finally comes out.
Well, I tell you what you do. You write a thank you note and put it in your car. And carry it for 2 years.
Oh, gosh. It'll smell like fish.
And dog vomit. We got fish in the news.
Fish in the news?
We love fish in the news.
We enjoy it thoroughly.
Now, we've already talked about some pretty dorky things here, but this one comes to us from NPR, National Public Radio.
Right, conveniently enough.
Now we're all public radio people.
We're so cool.
This story says, this was published December 16th, and it says, I'm just going to read the headlines here. Scientists find tiny exfoliating beads in Great Lakes fish guts.
Aren't those fish lucky?
They're very smooth on the inside.
In their inside, yeah. They go to like these little fish Mary Kay parties. If you buy these beads right now and eat them, they'll exfoliate your insides. Oh, Marjorie.
Your guts are awesome.
You're some softest guts I've ever seen. Thank you.
So the story,
they have like these like pyramid schemes where you can buy a kit and have your home party so you can sell the exfoliating beads to other fish.
Right. And then there's the detoxification guts product. So the tiny beads, I'm going to read this here. The tiny beads used in some cosmetics and toothpaste. So your toothpaste has exfoliating beads in it.
Good. I like my teeth exfoliating.
Are making their way into the bellies of fish in the Great Lakes. And it's raising concerns among environmentalists. It's making fish nerds laugh a little bit right now, but it really, we should be concerned as well.
We should be, yes.
Dr. Sherry Mason, a chemistry professor at the State University of New York, has been researching the issue. And they talked about it on public radio. Okay, so the interviewer says, how big really is the threat from these tiny plastic beads? And the researcher says, I think the biggest thing is that actually they can kind of connect to all the different issues that are impacting the Great Lakes right now.
So it's more of a symbolic problem.
I think
there's no problem. People. It's just a matter of like, it's just one more thing.
Right. And it's like, aren't we jerks?
Yeah, so they're not saying it's toxic, they're not saying anything else, but they're saying, hey, just so you know, you have an impact on the fish, and there's a little red dot that proves it.
Yes, just so you know, all your facial products are in the guts
Here's
of
a
fish.
problem with this. Okay.
Yes.
I agree with the premise of the story and the whole stop putting crap in the rivers thing. Right. But to use an example of something that's not actually physically hurting anything, what it does is like the people who really don't like the environmentalist movement, you will use that as their like, why are they wasting our time with this stuff? Focus
maybe.
that energy on the lead sinkers and things we know are toxic and hurting things, rather than saying there's something that's colorful and that's it. There's nothing. There's no punchline. There's no like who cares?
Right, right. And it's connected to everything else.
It's broad. Give me some meat.
I want to see dead
fish.
fish.
There's no mercury content. There's nothing. It's not making people sick. It's not ruining eggshells of birds. Right.
They could just be pooping this stuff out. And
it could be completely meaningless, So the biggest problem they're having with it is it's there. Which is a problem, I agree, but come on, you're watering down all the big issues with that. It takes away the meaning of bigger issues. That's my problem.
It's exfoliating the truth about.
Oh, yeah. You're not allowed to do that.
I was trying something, but it didn't
was
work.
sloughing off the cells of truth.
Popping the pimples of... no, that's horrible.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like it'd be like if a dog ate a whole bunch of poop. No.
I'm beginning to rethink our chances on
We're
radio.
so screwed. We're on a social media blitz. I know. Well, first of all, I'll wait for you to be done.
I don't know why. It's sort of a Star Wars kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Are you done?
Yes.
Sorry. I don't know why I had no patience for you today.
It's because you're jealous I went fishing.
Super jealous. Yeah, you were fishing. I'm cleaning up dog crap. Well, I'm not. I wasn't cleaning. I was gagging. My wife was cleaning it.
You were adding to it.
I was completely no help. Okay. So useless. So Media Blitz. If you are not already on Facebook, you are missing out on a good time. So get out there. Fish Nerds Facebook page now has well over 2,000 page likes.
All those people
They
like
really
us.
do. They really do. But there's a lot of action there, a lot of comments and conversation going on, and fish nerds meeting other fish nerds, and
It really is. In all seriousness, I'm so excited about how it's connecting fish nerds literally across the globe. We have Australia, Ukraine.
Great Ukraine guys on there right now. So yeah,
I know. So it really is amazing. So we get a big
even
kick
get
out.
Tennessee on there.
No.
With
If you can get Tennessee,
come on, you win. But it's great. And if you're not on Twitter, I now have a smartphone. Dave has been tweeting for a while now. I am learning how, but our Twitter handle is @FishNerds. We'll soon be on Instagram. We'll soon be on other social media things.
I want to do Snapchat.
Go for it. By the way, Dave, does your daughter have Snapchat on her phone?
No, she does
if
not.
If you ever see that on your daughter's phone, take her phone
Yeah.
and smash it.
I would
Smash chat it, because it's a bad thing. It's just bad.
Yes.
Nothing good out of that. So anyway, if you're not already with the Fish Nerds on social media, please get there. We need you. Get your friends there, and that's where the action is on a daily basis. And we don't have any third-party posters. We are it. We are the ones posting stuff. So if you see someone write something stupid, it's probably me. So you can say, Clay, come on, what are you talking about? And we'll have a little debate. It'll be great. So get on there.
Now it's time for Stump.
All right. Now, Stump the Fish Nerds is our call-in feature of this program, where if you have a Fish Nerds question, you can call in, ask the Fish Nerds a question, and we will answer it on our podcast. And the number to call in is 607-378-FISH. 607-378-3474. And nobody called in this week.
No.
But we're going to play it anyway.
Yes, because we love Stump
We
the
do
Fish
really
Nerds.
like it.
So last time I attempted to stump Clay, of which he got the right answer.
With
I
a
might add.
Taylor.
It was a Taylor. You're all right.
A bluefish, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you some description of a fish, Dave, and you are going to try and guess the fish. Name the tuna. Are you ready?
Name the
It's
tuna?
not tuna.
Okay.
All right.
I got it.
This is a freshwater species of fish. It inhabits cool, rocky streams and rivers.
Cool.
It's in North America and eastern Siberia. Yeah. It can be found in brackish water. It likes gravel bottoms. It's nocturnal. When it swims, it appears to hop along the bottom. It's an inefficient swimmer. It has no swim bladder.
No
Yeah,
swim
it's an
bladder.
ambush predator. Primarily hunts out for insects and crustaceans, small fish and eggs. It's a great prey for larger fish because it can't swim very well. It's
Right,
pretty
it's
useless fish.
Hopping
yeah.
around. It likes
It
the
likes
bottom.
the bottom.
And
Yeah,
who
I'm not
doesn't?
sure if I have much help you on this fish here. I'm trying to name it.
So should I guess?
Anytime you're ready.
All right. So it's clearly a sculpin.
Yes.
And so there's a good number of sculpin species, especially out in Tennessee and those kinds of places. You did say it's a mountain
Yes.
one. And I've heard those also called Miller's thumbs.
Really?
Which, yeah, is a local name for them, at least out in Indiana, was a Miller's thumb, which I don't know what a Miller's thumb has in common with a sculpin, but...
Well, neither one has a
so-
swim bladder.
That's true. They don't. So I'm going to say it is a slimy.
You got it. Ta-da!
Hey,
That was an easy
one. Well, there are a ton of different
Yeah, well,
sculpins.
it's the only one I know.
Yeah, well, that's good, and that's the one in New
Yeah,
Hampshire.
yeah.
So I thought that was probably a pretty
was a
good
good guess.
But I know, like I said, out in the Mississippi drainage, tons.
Yeah,
of them.
and
So,
just
hey,
and, good job, Dave. And just for those listeners out there who are thinking about slimy sculpins and trying to angle for them and catch them on a hook, it can be done. I've done it. And if you do it, please practice catch and release. And it's not because we're concerned about the well-being of sculpins. It's because they taste like crap. So do not bother trying to eat a sculpin. It's just not worth it.
It was probably the worst one. We tried to eat all the fish in New Hampshire, and that was probably the
Hey,
worst
we
one.
ate that one on New Hampshire Public Radio.
Oh, we
Totally,
did. It
yeah.
was New Hampshire Public Radio.
Yeah,
Nice.
see what I did there?
He did it. You're bringing it all back, and that's why our media blitz is so
Yeah.
awesome.
We're experts.
Yes,
Yeah. All right.
Fish Nerd Nation.
Our favorite Fish Nerd Nation. I love this stuff.
So this week in Fish Nerd Nation, we had some good entries. And what Fish Nerd Nation is, by the way, there are fish nerds all over the world, right? We've already said that. And many of them like to go on YouTube. I don't know why, but something about fishing and videoing, people love it. So what we do is we go on YouTube and we troll the internet for the coolest things out there. We take 30-second clips out of these big, long videos and post them there. And they're all archived, which is really nice. So, for instance, the New York Times did a thing on black sea bass and wild mushrooms, a recipe for that. If
It looks
you go,
really good.
it looks, yeah, really, really good. And there were some good tips there, too, like don't oil the pan because it takes the skin off the fish, and some fish you want the skin off of. So I thought that was an awful good trick. And the nice thing about the way the Fish Nerds page is set up, if you go to the fish profiles, you'll see many of the fish species. We're constantly adding them. And you could click on black sea bass, and it will take you to all of the things we've posted about black sea bass. And you'll see recipes, you'll see ways to catch them, you'll see funny stories. It's awesome. So, Fish Nerd Nation, there was a good one there. Another one is fairly controversial. I found it difficult to look at spearfishing for smallmouth bass.
You know, I found the same thing. I got uncomfortable with the whole idea of it.
I don't know why.
No, it was funny. I put that up on our Facebook page, and all kinds of debate happened on is spearfishing fishing or is not fishing, and it was really interesting to get people's points of view on that, just on that little video you put up.
Yeah, and just because we spearfish other things, we speared white sucker, and that also kind of made us feel queasy. But
It did, but we also had to eat it.
yes, that's true. There's not a lot of catch and release going on with spearing fish,
Doesn't work well. No.
unless I still think a plunger would work pretty well. You just kind of humans are such jerks.
We're terrible.
And anyway, so those are the two main entries on Fish Nerd Nation this week. Like I said, every week we're constantly filling these things in. There is one other one. There's a guy in, I think, India that runs a small restaurant where he fries fish. Okay, did you see this, Clay?
Yes, I did. He fried his hands.
He doesn't use any utensils. He can put his hand in boiling oil, and it apparently does not hurt him. Kind of wild.
Yeah, gross too.
Not a lot of health inspectors have
bad. Yeah.
So anyway, those are the Fish Nerd Nation. But, bookmark fishnerds.com because we add things about every other day, and we're all fish nerds at heart, right?
Yeah, and it's searchable too. So if you're looking for a specific fish and you're like, I wonder if these guys know about, bowfin, you can put in bowfin in our search bar, and you'll find every video or article we've written about bowfin right on our website.
Yeah, it's really great. And I looked the other day, we have, I think, over 500 entries right now.
Wow. Fish nerds are prolific.
Yes.
We're so good. Mm-hmm.
So,
we should fish more.
I know. So that is it. You have listened to a couple of Fish Nerds when you could have been fishing.
And we'd like to thank our families for supporting us while we podcast, go on fishing quests, and do all sorts of silly things that middle-aged guys do. If you would like to support the Fish Nerds, you can like us on Facebook, rate us 5 stars on iTunes, or throw us a little cash to support our impending book. Or even better, do some advertising on the vast Fish Nerds media empire.
Special thanks to all our Fish Nerd friends from around the world. It's really great to hear from you when you log on to Facebook or post things on our website. It's really awesome. So cheers to the Fish Nerds out there.